I'm Marcy McDonald with Pacific Northwest Suburban Homesteading. Today I'm here with my sister Jennifer, and she will be showing us how she roasts a turkey.
Hi folks, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to show you how I dress my turkey for roasting. I do this for Christmas, Thanksgiving, and whenever. Technically, I'm doing this because I plan on deboning and actually canning. Makes really great lunches, on the go, salads, you name it. That'll be another episode we have planned for you guys, so stay tuned to enjoy that one. But today, I'm going to tell you about how I dress my turkey. Also, I use the same flavors in my brine. I found a few years ago that brining a turkey is absolutely the best way to have a flavorful and moist turkey. I will never go back to any other way of making a turkey. My family looks forward to it every year. Moving along here, I just wanted to let you know my flavor profile that's also included in my brine. Usually my base of the brine is apple cider. That doesn't carry through into what I stuff my bird with, but the rest of it is. So I use oranges, depending upon the size of a bird. If it's a 25-pound bird, I'll use a whole orange. This is a small bird, so I'm using half of an orange. I use rosemary. I grow this abundantly in my yard. I'm always looking for ways to use it, and this is a fantastic way to use it. I have sage. My sage doesn't do fantastic, so I did store-buy this. I do know that the profile isn't quite as strong when you buy it store-bought, but it is what it is, and it works. I also use thyme to stuff the bird. I grow this. I have 3 or 4 different kinds. Some's more lemony or whatever. I just grab whatever I happen to looks the best, and I just pick some of it. I also onion. Notice I didn't take the skin off of it. It really doesn't matter. It gives my broth. When I'm done, I'll take the carcass and I'll make broth, and I throw all of this in the broth, so it'll give my broth a good color. Cloves of garlic, I smushed these, so it'll help release some of the oils and flavors and make the bird a little more flavorful. And celery. I like to use the insides of the celery. They're the most flavorful, but whatever you have, it works. And then peppercorns. Peppercorns are something else. I have this kind of trifecta color of peppercorns, but I just kind of throw those in there. And then this little concoction here, this is pretty much the same thing, but in dry form. And I mix it with butter, so it kind of makes a paste-ish sort of thing. I actually ended up microwaving my butter too long because I forgot to take it off out of the fridge. It wasn't soft, so then I had to cool it. So this is what it looks like. Doesn't really matter. The flavors are all there. Gives a nice tenderness with the butter and flavor. And I put that under the skin. I strip the skin away from the meat and along the legs and everything, and that goes under the skin. All right, so now I'm gonna stuff my carcass, and you see that I have the neck in here. I just throw it because it's great for my broth. And then I have a little weenie dog puppy, and I like to use the hearts and the livers. I'll cook this up in there, kind of lay it on top so it doesn't have any of the onion and garlic in it that they're allergic to or are toxic to dogs, most animals. Anyway, I just throw that in there so it cooks up, and then he has really nice little treats and snacks, and he loves it a lot. So I've removed one leg from this little plastic doohickey. There's the other leg coming off. Usually I'll take it and I take the wings and you tuck them back behind like this. This bird is an amputee and is missing the tip of one wing. So I'm just going to try to tuck that under as best I can. And here we go. So I'll start out with my herbs. I leave them whole. They're just easier to pull out. And I just shove those in there first. They're on the bottom, and as they cook and break down with the heat process of cooking, those good flavors just go throughout the bird. So I stuff those in there first. They'll hang out just like any other stuffing. Take some oranges. I sliver them up like this. They just kind of fit better in there. You could stuff more in the carcass that way. giving me trouble. It's a small bird. I'm used to doing a really big bird. I happened to get this bird free off of a group, a communal group that I'm a member of. Somebody had an extra one, and I thought it would be perfect to not only show you all how I do my bird, but also have some canned for the winter. Here goes some celery. Just kind of shove it in there as best as I can. I think I'll save some celery for the outside, put more of the onion and garlic on the inside, so those liver and hearts and stuff don't have any of the onion on them. Cavity of this bird is kind of small. I probably could have gone with maybe a quarter of an onion. I did use half of an onion with this. Doesn't really matter if some of this stuff falls out. It's fine. It's going to flavor the juice and drippings, which are great. I use those with my broth. I just throw all of it. I just dump it all in my broth if I don't make gravy with it on Thanksgiving or Christmas. Throw in some peppercorns in there. It was in there real quick. All right. Throw some more of these oranges in there. I leave the peel on it too because of all of the oils that are actually in the peels. Gives such a good aromatic to your bird and flavor. The flavor profile is just amazing. So here I go with the last of the celery. I'm just going to kind of throw it there on top because I'm going to put these little hearts and whatnot on there. Whatnot? What kind of a word is that? At least you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. And then the neck, I'm just going to throw the neck in here. It really doesn't matter where it goes because that's 100% going to be part of just the chicken stock that I use. So I'm just going to throw these kind of on top of this, the opening. And that's about it. So there you have it. There's the inside's been stuffed. Now I'm going to take this and I really just take it by the handfuls and I go underneath the skin. So you peel that skin back away from the carcass. It's just there's just a membrane in there. So you strip that back. It's a little bit harder. There's like a stronger membrane that kind of goes between the two breasts. Try to strip this all back. Just get your fingers in there. It's a messy thing. Cannot be squeamish. We'll take this out and I'll put it back in. Although I never go by those timers because they have been known to fail. But I use it as kind of a guide. But after about an hour and a half, I'll come in, start basting. Some people baste, some people don't. They feel that you're letting the heat out of your roaster. I find that it really doesn't matter. I like to baste it. I'll get up under the skin and whatnot, some fat. All right, so here we go. Start out with the legs just because they're right here. And I just take this and I just work it in under the skin on all the meat. It's not pretty. It's messy as all get out, but it sure makes for a good bird. You take the skin and you can roll the skin or rub it. You can pull some of that flavoring down under the skin where your fingers can't quite reach. So that makes it easy and nice also, because you kind of have small little cavities that you're working with underneath the skin. All right. It's messy, definitely messy. You want to make sure you sanitize your kitchen and your hands and your sink after this. You do not want to spread salmonella and bacteria from the bird. That's probably pretty good. I still have some left that I'm just going to rub on the outside of the skin. Flavor that outside of the skin. So it's really beautiful. This one's really dressing up nice. And you see that the skin kind of split right here. That's okay. It's going to pull back a little bit anyway. When it cooks, the skin tends to want to shrink up a little bit. Doesn't really matter. I don't eat the skin. I use it to keep the bird moist. Yeah, get all this goodness off of my fingers. So that's a lot. That would be a lot to waste right down this sink. So I'm just gonna kind of, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna wash my hands. I'll be right back. I'm back, thank you. Clean hands, not spreading germs and bacteria around my kitchen. So I use something I didn't touch on when I put the turkey in here. I prefer to use my countertop roasting pan. I feel that it keeps the heat in, it cooks much faster. I did a 25-pound turkey on Christmas and it took 3 hours to cook it rather than I believe it's a 15 minutes per pound. So that would have been a really long time if you want to do the math. Ex-bookkeeper here, terrible at math, but good at bookkeeping. Anyway, here we go. So I'm just gonna plug this in. And then you want to set the temperature to 325 degrees. So here we go. That's 350, 325. Nope. That's about 325. Close enough. And then, don't want to forget, I did take this little doohickey out. I'm going to stuff that right back into this guy. Come on, buddy. There you go. Right into the thickest part of the breast. And then, boom, here goes the lid. You pretty much set it and forget about it at that point. I'll probably check it in about an hour, see what it looks like, maybe an hour and a half or so. I do use this digital thermometer. You want the thickest part of the turkey to be 180 degrees. So with that, I usually check the thickest part of the breast, and then I try to go down and check the thickest part of the thigh as well. It's just what I do. It is recommended to just check the thickest part of the thigh. I do both. Usually once it hits about 175 or so, maybe 170, I'll actually turn the heat off because the residual heat will continue to cook it to the 180 degrees and you will have the moistest, most delicious turkey rather than waiting till it gets to be 180 degrees and then it continues to cook up to 195. I've had it, and then the breast tends to be a little bit drier. We'll check back in a few minutes. Well, an hour or so, and we'll check that temperature. I'll let you know how I based it and then the finished product. Welcome back. It's time to just put an eye on the turkey, maybe baste it, but we'll tell once we lift the lid. It'll be a surprise for me because I haven't lifted the lid, as you can see. Do apologize for the mess. We have decided to eat and make lunch while we were waiting, and I haven't quite cleaned it up, but it is time to check the turkey, so it is what it is. So let's see the magic that's happening. Looks absolutely delicious. You can see how some of the butter has melted. Now it's starting to get a little bit brown here and there. At this point, I am going to check the temperature of the bird just to kind of see where we're at. And I'm going to check in the beefiest part of the breast first. I can tell by putting it in, it is hard to put it in, so it is not cooked. And we're at about 110 degrees, so we definitely have a ways to go. I'm going to check the thickest part of the thigh. Now it is at 180 degrees, but the breast isn't done. So this is the perfect example of checking in multiple places to make sure that it's done. Every place I've ever read has always said, check the thickest part of the thigh. And this proves that that's not always your go-to. So my thighs are done, but my breasts, and I'll try this one more time, are definitely undercooked. Right where I just poked it, it's 104. So we've got a ways to go, and I'm not making me or my family sick. So we're going to keep going with this. I think I am going to squeeze a little basting on there. There's some juice in the bottom. Just going to suck up some of the juice it's producing. You can see that it's producing quite a bit of juice in the bottom here. I'm just going to baste on down the legs. And the breasts. All right, shoot some underneath the skin. Just get in there. I just get in there with it. Some people baste, some people don't. I'm a baster. I think the lid's been off of this long enough. Pop this lid back on, and I'll probably check it in about 30 minutes. All right, we're gonna do, I think we're getting pretty close, so I think we're gonna do one last check of the temperature on this. Keep your face away or your glasses fog up. I didn't learn that by experience or anything. Let's see. That side was 160. This side is 160. So you see that I poked it in there and I pulled it out because I poked it in there, I felt bone. You do not want your temperature gauge to be against bone. You will not get an accurate reading of the actual internal temperature of the meat itself. That's what's important. That's what you're looking for, is the internal temperature of the meat. So yeah, we got a little while to still go on this, so stay tuned, folks. I think I'm getting impatient. I just want this to be done and cooked so I could debone it and start my next phase of what I had planned to do with the turkey. We're at about 170. Well, that says 178, 163. Now that says 147. Maybe I should get another thermometer. Now, honestly, if this is slightly undercooked, I plan on doing a Suburban Homestead pressure can of the deboned shredded turkey anyway. So if it is undercooked, doesn't matter because it's going to be pressure canned anyway. But I think we're getting close to temperature. It's just not quite there yet.
Now at temperature, our turkey awaits for part 2. Jen will show us how she pressure cans her turkey. Thanks for watching. Until next time, be curious, keep an open mind, and never stop learning.